You know, when you hear the name Abraham, what comes to mind? Probably a historical figure, the father of monotheism, right? But what if his real legacy isn't just his story, but his method? Today, we're going to dive into Abraham's timeless creed, a replicable process, really, for digging up truth that anyone can use to cut through the noise of tradition and assumption.
So let's kick things off with a pretty foundational question. It's a question that, according to the Quran, every single one of us has already answered before we were even born.
So what is this? Well, this is what's known as the primordial covenant. It's supposed to be this moment of absolute clarity. The source material calls this the fitra, a truth so fundamental that it's literally encoded into our very being. It's the first thing we ever knew, a core recognition of the divine that we ourselves testified to.
And that, right there, is the central question, isn't it? If we all started out with this perfect, undeniable recognition, how do we end up so confused, so full of doubt and inherited beliefs? I mean, what went wrong between then and now?
Well, that original truth, it doesn't just vanish, it gets buried. Think of it like layers of soil piling up over time. There's the layer of what our family taught us, then what our community agrees on, what institutions and authorities tell us is true, and finally, just the cultural air we breathe every day. We inherit our beliefs, and we so rarely stop to ask if they're actually true.
And this is where Abraham enters the picture. The sources paint him as this young man who just decided to start digging. He made a choice to excavate through all those layers of inherited ideas, using one of the most powerful tools we have: pure, uncompromising reason.
You can see this clash of worldviews so clearly right here. Abraham challenges his own community with this simple, almost devastating question: do you not use reason? And their response? Well, it reveals everything. It's not a logical defense. It's just an appeal to tradition. This is what our fathers did. It's the age-old argument of inheritance over investigation.
So he starts his own investigation, almost like a scientist. He tests a simple hypothesis. Could one of these celestial bodies be the Lord? He starts with a star, but it fails his very first logical test. It sets. And that means it's contingent. Its existence depends on something else. A true Lord can't be something that's impermanent, something that just disappears.
All right, so next candidate, the moon. It's bigger, it's brighter, seems more significant, but he applies the exact same rigorous test and, surprise, surprise, it fails too. The moon is also subject to cycles it can't control. It also sets. So finally, he considers the most powerful, most awesome object in his observable universe, the sun. This is greater, he says. I mean, it's the source of light, of life itself. But even the sun is bound by the same unchangeable laws. It rises, and then it sets. It's not ultimate. It's not in charge. So, after methodically eliminating everything he can see, everything that changes, what's he left with? There's only one inescapable conclusion. If the stars, the moon, and the sun are all contingent beings, then the true Lord has to be the exact opposite. The Lord must be the uncaused cause, the single necessary being that all these temporary things depend on. See, this isn't about blind faith. It's the logical endpoint of his entire investigation. But here's the thing. It's one thing to arrive at a conclusion in your head. It's a whole other thing to prove you get the implications, to prove you're willing to stake your life on it. Abraham's conviction, well, it had to be tested.
The Quran says he was tested bi kalimati. Now get this, the source material presents a really fascinating interpretation of this term. It doesn't just mean he was tested with words or commands. It means he was tested in logics. His trials weren't just arbitrary hoops to jump through. They were live demonstrations of the logical consequences of what he had discovered.
Okay, so the first test of logic, being thrown into a massive fire by his own community. This wasn't just a punishment. It was a direct, head-on challenge to his core belief. The question was, if the Lord truly has absolute power over everything, then natural laws, like fire burning, must operate only by his permission, right? Abraham's willingness to face that fire was the ultimate proof of his conviction in that logic.
And then came the second test, and this one, wow, it went even deeper. The command to sacrifice his son. This was testing an even more profound logical proposition, that the Lord's authority over life is absolute. It supersedes everything, even our most powerful, hardwired biological and emotional bonds. It was a demonstration that life itself is a gift from the giver, not a possession of the one who receives it.
So,
Because Abraham didn't just understand these logics in his head, but actually proved them with his life, he earned a unique and universal title.
He was appointed Imam, which means an exemplar, a guide, a role model for all of humanity. And this is key. It wasn't a title he inherited because of his family or tribe. It was a merit-based appointment. He earned it through proven qualification. His method and his character became the gold standard.
But, and this is a huge but, this appointment came with a critical condition. When Abraham asked if his kids and grandkids would also get this special covenant, the answer was crystal clear. This role of exemplar isn't about bloodline. It belongs only to those who are free from prejudice and the inherited biases that twist our perception of truth.
So after this entire journey, the logic, the tests, the appointment, what was the practical outcome? What did he leave behind for the rest of us? Well, he didn't just leave a story, he established a replicable practice so anyone could follow in his footsteps.
And this is where things get really interesting. The source material suggests a radical rereading of a key term, bait. Now, we traditionally translate this as a physical house or building, but its primary lexical meaning is actually the action of sustained nocturnal contemplation or meditation.
Now, once you make that one little lexical shift, look what happens. Everything changes. What we thought was about a place suddenly becomes about a process. So, Bakata, traditionally at Mecca, can be read as a human condition, under stress. Mathabah isn't a destination you travel to, but a way of returning to your true inner nature. And Amnon isn't physical safety from attack, but the peace of mind that this practice brings you.
So the crucial point here is pretty profound. Under this interpretation, Abraham's ultimate gift to humanity wasn't a sacred building. It was a sacred methodology, a practice for anyone, anywhere, to strip away all those layers of conditioning, return to the truth they forgot, and find genuine peace of mind.
And that leaves us with one final thought to chew on. Is Abraham's journey just a powerful story from the past that we're supposed to admire from a distance? Or is his creed a timeless blueprint, a logical and practical path laid out for our own personal quest for truth? That's a question really worth thinking about.